Here, the patch we've all been waiting for, update note on 0.61.1. So, I won't read this beginning part, but essentially at 2 a.m. Central Standard Time, which down here is 8 o'clock UTC, after about a 2-hour, maintenance on the server, right? The server will be down, we can't play. They will introduce the new patch. So, not even that long of a wait for a pretty big patch, which is awesome. Now, I'm going to read through these. This is my live reaction to all this. Other than that initial list that they released, plus a few social media posts from the development team, the CEO, I haven't read any more details on this. So, how I'm going to do this is I'm going to read through quickly for some of the things that aren't as pertinent. I may miss some things that are pertinent, and I apologize if I do, but I will slow down and give a little bit more detail on some of the things that stand out to me that will be a big deal as far as what's listed below. So, getting into it, the gameplay, training mode enhancements, added penalty kick to training mode, added free kick to training mode, added corner kick to training mode. That's awesome. Goalkeeper improvements, enhanced goalkeeper logic and behavior, introduced new goalkeeper animations. This could be huge. We just have to see what they added, because the goalkeepers, as we know, sometimes can be pretty wonky. By the way, these are the bells and whistles types of things that I was talking about. The new goalkeeper animations, which are little improvements as we go, but they will make a difference. You watch. Passing adjustments. Reduced pass accuracy from difficult positions. Decreased accuracy for long passes and one-touch passes. Ding, ding, ding. Right there, that is part of the L1 triangle nerf. It may be more stuff as far as like the wing backs maybe closing down the player quicker or whatever the case may be, but it's not just going to say got rid of L1 triangle, right? Because that's a command. They're going to do things like this. So hear me out. Reduce pass accuracy from difficult positions. Ball goes to the winger no matter where they're facing. You then one-touch pass it all the way across the field, or a lot of players would play it into their striker. No matter what direction he was facing, they would one-time L1 triangle, and it would fly to their winger, who would be through. So that's done with, right? Reduced pass accuracy, from difficult positions. That's great. Decreased accuracy for long passes, L1 triangle, and one-touch passes, L1 triangle to winger, or play to the winger, L1 triangle, one-touch across. Okay, both of those address that. Moving on. Referee decision system update. Fine-tune yellow and red card probabilities. Contact within 2 animation frames, okay, 0.06 ms, before ball contact is no longer considered a foul, preventing penalties for near simultaneous events. That's good. Sometimes the refs randomly call them penalties because of this type of situation. It looks like they fixed, even though there's not many penalties, let's be honest, in this game, but it looks like they fixed ones that were really goofy. Okay, so player switching system update. Auto switching delay. Okay, let's read this. The delay time now depends on pass distance. A 50-meter pass, switching occurs after 0.7 seconds. For a 10-meter pass, switching happens almost immediately. All right, so this should help defensively. Manual switching. All right, if no chaser is present on your team, the system selects the player nearest to the chaser's target point rather than simply nearest to the ball. By chaser, I'm assuming they mean chasing the ball, right? Trying to win it back. So if no chaser is present on your team, the system selects the player nearest to the chaser's target point, okay, rather than simply the nearest to the ball. I believe that just means, let's read the rest of them. For opponents receiving a pass, the player selected for switching depends on the intended reception point rather than the nearest distance to the... Okay, so then let's read this last one. I'll go into this. Players positioned behind the ball carrier are less likely to be chosen for switching. Okay, it makes sense. So in summary, let's say an opponent's passing the ball around and it auto switches to a player that's like in touching distance of them, but guess what? They're not goal side. So it really doesn't help you out. It might even put you in a worse position. Instead, what this does, it will read, where the ball is going. For instance, balls maybe played a little bit ahead. Maybe it's a through ball. Or, you have a defender that's a little bit further away from the receiver of the ball, but they're in a better position to defend the opponent. Now it will auto switch to that player. This is actually huge. A lot of people won't stop and like realize how big this is. But within the game, it happens so quickly. But this is going to improve your defensive ability big time, right? Just your ability to get a little bit of assistance so it doesn't immediately put you automatically into a bad spot defensively, all right? Shooting adjustments. Low shot reconfiguration, all right? My assumption is that's a buff because low shots and long shots are just non-existent. Because the goalie saves them every time. Introduce additional ball flight trajectories. That could be part of a buff there for different shots. Adjusted shot variability and miss probabilities. Ding, ding, ding. Reduce the frequency of hitting the goal frame. Okay, not as much crossbars and stuff like that. High-footed shots now bounce off. High-footed shots now bounce off the pitch more often, with a greater chance of such rebounds from higher balls. Let's see what that is. Chip shot adjustments. Probably a buff on this one too. Increase ball spin, reduce horizontal deviation and miss probability, reduce shot power within the defensive penalty area when controlling the ball. Reduce shot power when controlling the ball, chasing or receiving, and the stick is directed towards the player's own goal. So maybe people are scoring own goal. I have no idea. That one could be over my head. Decreased accuracy for headed shots. Ding, ding, ding. That's huge, right? They should put that in all caps and exclamation points because it's not just decreased accuracy for headed shots. It's, hey, players aren't going to be banging in headers anymore. Be happy, because it was far too high of a chance of scoring with header shots. Plain and simple. That's where the lob cross really, became so OP, is because of the ability of the player receiving the header to score it, right? The lob cross was kind of silly. Maybe sometimes the goalie should have caught it. Now he probably will because, or no, actually this is decreased accuracy for headed shots. So that just means they're not all just going to be pinpoint perfect. But that does play a part in it. Let's see if there's more on headers. I'm thinking there's got to be. Players now dodge the ball when their teammate is shooting on goal. That's another big one though. Players now dodge the ball when their team... I can't tell you how many times, and you've probably experienced this, where you make a great play, great passing player, you have an open shot on goal, and your player blocks it just silly, just doesn't even try to get out of the way. This will fix that. Hopefully, we'll see. But based on what that says, I'm assuming that's the issue, right? And I did not even realize that they were nerfing or buffing some of this stuff so far. So pleasant surprises so far. Other fixes. Improve ball reception to reduce missed controls. So improve ball reception to reduce missed controls. We'll have to see what that is. But it sounds like it could be more important than I'm giving it. But moving on. Fix various gameplay bugs. That could be huge depending on what gameplay bugs they fix. Resolve several issues related to goal net behavior. Intentional own goals now result in a technical defeat. That's actually good because you'll be beating opponent and they'll get mad and just try to keep you in the game forever by scoring 1 million goals on themselves. Now, just like in FC, they'll be kicked out and you can move on. Casual mode now allows matches with injured or red card players in the squad. Okay, that's cool. Resolve several UI bugs and crashes. Okay. Increase the chance for defenders to win aerial duels during corner kicks. There it is. Part 2 of header nerfs. Increase the chance for defenders to win aerial duels during corner kicks. Okay. This is big because corners are so OP. You watch. This is another one that should be in caps, all caps and exclamation points, because it's going to be a major buff to defenders, plus probably even a nerf to attacking players' headers. But either way, we'll see a change in how OP it is, how OP corners are as far as getting goals, right? Added new stop and wait idle animations, making players appear more lifelike even when stationary. All right. AI assist bot attacking behavior, reduce movement intensity of fullbacks. Okay, check this out. Reduce the movement intensity of fullbacks when participating in attacks while using keep control in the midfield or support the attack tactics in the support the attack setting. Okay, listen. Your defenders would be way out of position or going out of control when you put support the attack. That's not even the furthest attacking option for your fullbacks when you want them in the attacking runs is, I believe. But when support the attack is on now, just maybe it would be viable to not just have them all the way defensive, right? Like, I think it's like not cross the halfway line, hold your position. Now, you might be able to get them more involved in the attack without them just being totally way out of position. We'll have to see. Improve situational attacking runs into the opponent's penalty box when the ball is on the flank. So improve situational attacking runs into the opponent's penalty. Okay, this has to do with the balls on the wing and your players are just making ridiculous runs. A lot of them just run straight out of bounds or offside at least, and so hopefully that's what that fixes. I'm 99.999% sure. So that's a big one. Defensive behavior, pressing. All right. This is probably ball passing around the back, keeping the ball around the back after you score a goal. Try to combat that. Let's see. Increase movement intensity during pressing. Okay, players actively close down opponents. So they improve their pressing. Let's see if that becomes OP. You got to be real careful with this pressing. It did need a buff for sure. And it really was shown when players were able to keep the ball easily after scoring. But you got to be careful, as we know from EAFC, the pressing can become ridiculous. And even eFootball, their stuff is wild over there. So let's see, though, how UFL does with their pressing buff. Defensive line behavior. The defensive line stays closer to the opponent's attacking line. The defensive line stays closer to the opponent's attacking line. So that means just tighter marking on the attackers. Defenders track attacking runs behind the line more closely during through passes. Okay, so this looks like a buff to defenders as far as not allowing through balls too much, which I feel like they've done pretty good at this, but maybe I'm missing something in particular that addresses. Anyway, okay, increase the base width of the defensive line up to their third of the field, up to their third. So all the way in their whole defensive end increases the base width of the defensive line. That could low-key be something that helps that L1 triangle switch, like a defender going to shut it down on top of the fact that the ball's not going to be as good or accurate. But I'm not positive on that. Fullbacks now have more freedom to press opponents on the flanks. Ding, ding, ding. That's what I'm talking about there. So not just L1 triangle switches, but now the fullbacks are going to be a lot better as far as responding to balls played out to the wings. So a lot of defensive buffs here, which is good, right? I think that's definitely could be helpful, especially in the scenarios that they're kind of depicting. But we will see about that. Okay, set pieces. Goal kicks. At least one center back will always remain inside the penalty area for safer set piece distribution. Okay. At least one center back for... Okay, goal kicks. All right, there you go. Players' starting positions now depend on the team's tactical style. So the starting positions from goal kicks, right? So possession, they're going to start closer to their own goal, right? So this happens in FC too. For long pass, they're going to be close to the opponent's goal, right? That's normal. Right, so when you're wanting to keep the ball and do shorter passes now, the players are going to start closer. When your tactics are more about getting the ball up the field quicker, they're going to be further up the field. For goal kicks, that's okay. Bot behavior enhancements, effective use of dribbling in 1v1, predicting, okay, advancing in the play, penalty area, and situational playthrough. Okay, this looks like just AI buffs for like local games, which is good. So if you want to go practice some tactics or formations or whatever in local, like the AI match, it looks like you'll have a little bit better opponents. Audio and visual, okay, add a new UI, sound effects, fix issues related to commentary voice, introduce new content in the store. Okay, so there's some new content coming in the store. Interested to see that. I think they have some amazing Adidas stuff. We'll have to see what that looks like, or if it's more new Adidas stuff or not. Added new players this season. Austrian national team. So shout out to Alaba and the boys. Got a nod in the game. Improved appearances for over 40 players. All right. And then we got 5 more signature skins. Isaac, Bisek, Darwin, Traore, and Indrik. Okay. No idea why I did a terrible accent there, but updated player photos for those same 5. And then the selling price of players has been increased. This could be huge, but it could be underwhelming, right? Whenever they buffed the awards like twice for Showdown, it was underwhelming both times. So don't get your hopes up for this. But right now, it is ridiculous. Let's say I'm just making this up, but I buy a player for $100 million. I literally get $100 back. Like literally insanity how low it is. It's insulting. You should be able to sell a player as you want to upgrade your team, or maybe you go from needing a third like central midfielder to now, like I'm looking at some tactics now where I might switch out one of my central midfielders for a more cam slash striker. And we won't go into details. I'll share that when I make the change. But you barely get anything for these players no matter how good they are. It's ridiculous. So let's see. This could be huge. It just depends how much more you get back from a player that you sell than you did before. Right? So that is everything. Obviously, they're not going to nail everything on this. I forewarned people on that. Just off the top of my head, they didn't talk about getting rid of that RP deduction they do every week. They didn't talk about more access to skins, or they didn't talk about adding any other modes, for instance. Like, we're still waiting on that. But it's still a start, and they still address the most important things, which is gameplay. And honestly, it's not all gameplay. There's some other stuff like adding the skins and things like that. That's where I wish it would have said, in challenges, more packs are now available to be earned in challenges. That would have been nice to see, but I'm patiently waiting. All right, this is a great start, or it looks to be. We will see. Obviously, in these notes, they're not going to just say L1 Triangle no longer, able to be overpowered, or Lob Cross no longer works, right? These are commands in the game, so they're explaining how they fixed it. But it doesn't change that now in the game when you go try to Lob Cross or go try to L1 Triangle switch, it won't work. You watch. That's what those things in there that I was pointing out, that's what they add up to meaning. Okay? We will see. It's also not just going to say, like, if you're up 1-0, you can't just pass the ball around the back and win anymore, right? It's going to say, like, buffed pressing, or now your players are going to press defenders more tightly. So we're just going to see your players are going to chase down the opponent, the attacking opponent, quicker, or have tighter marks, or whatever it said. You get what I'm saying? But that absolutely has to do with pressing better, especially when your opponent has the ball in the back. Like, you can just read between the lines, right? Now, does that mean it's going to for sure fix that issue as well as any other issues? No, it doesn't mean it for sure. It's just we can read what it says. No different than EAFC does each patch. And then we go and test it out and see what kind of changes are made. So we still can't get our hopes all the way up. I'm just optimistic. I'm excited. No matter what, I can guarantee you the game will improve, right? How much it will improve is to be determined, but it will improve. So, with that being said, that was my live reaction. Read it in more detail yourself. There's no doubt I missed over some things, jumbling some things. As I'm just reading it for the first time, I'm going to go over it myself some more. But we don't have much longer to wait, and then we will go into it further after the patch releases and get some initial gameplay analysis, and we'll go from there. So keep grinding, keep having fun, and we will see you tomorrow.